The keys to the game are brought to you by AutoNation. AutoNation drives pink to help drive out cancer. Over $28 million donated so far to cancer treatment and research. Do your part and drive pink in a new car or truck. For the AutoNation store near you, visit AutoNation.com. We continue now on the Manny Diaz Show, the Hurricanes and the Pitt Panthers. Miami has won 3 in a row in this series that dates back to the 1950s. Miami and Pittsburgh on Saturday. All right, the keys to the game for the University of Miami. Pressure and cover. Miami's going to have good pressure on the quarterback and then cover a very talented group of wide receivers. Miami's got to beat the blitz, and you can't run a whole lot against Pittsburgh, but if you can squeak out 100 yards, you're probably going to win the football game. So pressure and cover means Manny Diaz is going to have to mix things up on defense.
You are, and part of the pressure, you have to make sure that the quarterback doesn't escape the pocket. You know, you're going to get outnumbered there if you're only rushing 4 guys, but they're going to have somebody to keep an eye on him, to monitor him through the whole game, because he is an elite runner, in my opinion, and I think it's an underrated part of his game as far as Pickett being the quarterback of Pitt.
Yeah, just watching a few games, teams have gotten to Pickett, but he doesn't go down. He doesn't. He navigates the pocket. He'll kind of drag himself at the line of scrimmage, seeing if he can still make a play with his arm, and then if not, he'll take off and he'll get first downs. And the other thing too is they go for it on 4th down. They put him under center, quarterback sneak, and they keep the chance. Part of the reason why they hold the ball for 33 minutes a game. So I do agree, though. I think Miami's defensive line needs to play on that half of the line of scrimmage, but then on the back end, you got to compete and make plays.
Josh talked about the Miami wide receivers stepping up their game in our last segment. They're going to have to do that, obviously, in this game. If you beat their blitz, you can really punish them. But sometimes you'll see their defense and the safeties are so close to the line of scrimmage, it looks like they're playing in your backfield rather in their own defensive backfield. So an opportunity, beat the blitz, probably beat Pitt.
Joe, they'll pack the box. They're going to make sure you do not run the football. We'll get to that in a minute. But when you look at it overall, I think the most important thing is that we realize, and your point was well taken, Josh, the receiving core last year hurt Miami in a lot of football games. That doesn't seem to be the case now. They've done a great job turning that over and turning it into an asset, and they're going to have the challenges. You know, Rambo, we talk about week in and week out, he's going to get one-on-one, and to take that next level, he's going to have to win it, and I think he will.
And how about out of Don Bailey's book, an attaboy for Will Mallory?
Yeah.
Huh? And by the way, in this game, that would be huge, right? To play at that level of the field. And Jalen Knighton got more incorporated into the passing game. You like that. So you got to throw some different things at Pitt as well to make them have to consider all your options. But yeah, I think the outside on both sides, right? Whether on us in terms of our secondary, with us, and our wide receivers, those are going to be 2 huge matchups.
They traditionally hold their opponent to under 100 yards rushing. They take great pride in holding their opponent to under 100 yards rushing. Teams are averaging just over 100. If you can get something going on the ground against them.
You know, Joe, I'm going to hedge my bet a little bit, because I think for us, for even now through the end of the season, is if you look at Jalen Knighton and you have to say he's got to give us 100 yards, I don't think you're utilizing him as much as you can. I want to look at him as an all-purpose yard guy. He proved it last week. Came up big, I guess it was 86 yards rushing and 86 yards receiving. I think it's touches, got to be over 20, and then you go to all-purpose, because that's where he's productive. You go back to the ball game last week, his reception, actually the last 2 weeks, he's made great receptions since he got on the field as a starter, and I think it's touches as much as rushes.
And the other thing, too, stealing from Manny's breakdown, he becomes something you have to consider. You have to account for him. And when Miami, at the end of the game, needed a play, North Carolina's linebacker, although inexperienced, had to account for him, because Miami had put him out there a few times, and that opened that second window for Will Mallory. So for Pittsburgh in that game, are we taking away Knighton? Or is it Mallory? Is it the outside receivers? And we also have a freshman tight end that made a big catch in the game as well. So Tyler Van Dyke will have plenty of options to choose from. We see his game continue to grow. He put together a complete game, and I think there's a lot to build on.
Yeah, just a little bit of a run game, though. Then he won't be
He's not giving it up.
Look, if I could sign a paper for 100, I'm taking it. Believe me, that's
take
the
game
lucky
5,
number.
I think.
That's the lucky number that you want to get. But you know, I just believe that you, and look, Cody Brown is going to give us some tough yards.
He beat that. This feel like this is a good game for him,
the
right?
weather,
This is
the type.
he almost had an insane. I mean, I'll give him credit for the run. He only got 5 yards on it, but he didn't go down and kept going. This is going to be that kind of game. In the goal line, 3rd and 1. If they go for fourth down conversion, put 24 in there. Put that big, broad-shouldered, bruising running back in there.
Well, a huge game for the Pitt Panthers because they can take a gigantic step toward getting to Charlotte with a win over Miami, and Miami could take a large step of kind of getting back into this race with a win over Pittsburgh. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens. Canes have won the last 3, and they still owe Pickett for a couple of years ago when he beat Miami when the Hurricanes went in there, ranked number 2 in the country. Pitt kind of knocked Miami sideways. This is an opportunity.
He doesn't like that.
This is an opportunity for Miami to knock him
That
sideways.
game still haunts me. I mean,
So-
you're looking at an undefeated season.
right, well,
you're looking at an undefeated season. Think about that.
Chance for
Sorry
Miami
to get him going.
Right away.
Hey, I want another
Poke the bear.
celebratory locker room.
Okay.
That was fun. I loved it, and I'm just doing this. Imagine what those guys, everything they put into it. I was happy for the kids and happy for the staff, and I'll take another one.
I'm with you.
Canes in Pittsburgh on Saturday. For Josh Darrow and Don Bailey Jr. and Hurricanes head coach Manny Diaz, I'm Joe Zagacki. We'll see you next time on the Manny Diaz Show.